What is going on, guys? MJ2005 Gundam here, and today I'm going to be bringing you guys the Gunpla News Roundup video for October of 2021. And in this month's episode, the revived God of Medicine, some more Horsemen of the Apocalypse, and pre-built dioramas. All of that and maybe more in tonight's episode. But before I begin, I've been doing this series for 1 year, so happy first anniversary to Gunpla News Roundup. But without further ado, let's get right into the not so plentiful amounts of news, starting with this, which I left out of the last video because I made the Roundup video before this was announced. This is the P-Bandai Re-100 Gundam Lindwurm. This is basically a fusion design between the Zeta Gundam and the Bawu, but it's still not yet up for pre-order, so more news is to come. I will be reporting on that when it does, but we do have some promotional images displaying the design. And honestly, I really do like how they scattered the Zeta Gundam design elements all over the Bawu instead of just like swapping the head onto the Bawu, like the ironic joke of swapping Zaku head onto the Zeta. But anyways, it does look pretty nice. The lower body is a little bit bulky to my taste, but then again, the Bawu is a really bulky design, and the rear wings over here do remind me of the Xe Gundam to some extent. So if you want a pretty good looking fusion design between the Zeta and the Bawu, this is the one to get. But wait for more news before you decide on purchasing this thing, because it doesn't have a release date nor does it have a pre-order date. Moving swiftly along, this is what people have been talking about: a high-grade after colony Gundam Aesculapius, which is going to be a January 2022 release for basically 4,000 yen. Now, this is 4 times the price of the old high-grade. The old high-grade, despite being sticker heavy, is still a pretty decent kit. I reviewed that, please check that out in the cards, although it's like the old review with poor lighting, so watch at your own discretion. But this one, I have it pre-ordered. Surprisingly, it doesn't. The network didn't jam when the pre-orders of this thing first opened, so I was able to nab myself one. I still have some money left over from the consumer voucher, so I didn't have to pay a dime for it. Which, yeah, this kit does look promising on the exterior, and because it is based on the Geminis, don't expect too good of engineering. But I hope that this thing doesn't have these like weight issues that my Geminis suffers from because of the extra armor and all that kind of stuff. Now, this is the close combat form, and the face does look rather disturbing to me because, well, it's not supposed to cover the entire chest. It's only supposed to cover up the collar and maybe half of the chest. So this face, yeah, it's not really faithful to what they had going in G units. But regardless, I could just omit this form because I could just use the claws in the Gundam mode, and hopefully you do not need to take off the head to transform the Aesculapius into the close combat form, because that would be tedious. And of course, it does come with orange SB13 beams, which is a rarity in the modern Gunpla world. I know a lot of the 00 kits do use orange beams in their source material, but I don't believe I've seen orange beams, let alone SB13 ones, in the actual Gunpla market. And of course, you do get 3 beam rifles, 2 which are mounted onto the back, and this one is kind of like a modified version of the Gundam Geminis rifle. So yeah, I am definitely going to be reviewing this because I do have this pre-ordered, so you guys can compare and contrast between this version and the old version. Decide whether or not the 4-fold price is worth it for picking up the Gundam Aesculapius. Moving swiftly along, we do have some model kits from the upcoming game, Gundam Battle Operation Cold Fairy. So these are going to be under P-Bandai because why not? And this is the only image we have of these 3 so far: the Black Rider, the White Rider, and the Efreet Jaeger. We do not have any other information as of today, October 21st. So these are all we have going for us. Now, the Black Rider is basically kind of like, I feel like it's like the, what is it, the GF Night Seeker or some sort like that has a visor that is exactly this or a similar design. It's also a pair rider, so hopefully it doesn't have too many stickers. Hopefully it doesn't have the Hades system to have half of the stickers completely pointless. Same thing goes for the White Rider. I may pre-order the White Rider because I really do like the crown design it has going for it, but then again, hopefully it doesn't have the Hades system. And of course, we do have the Efreet Jaeger. Now, I don't know too much about the Efreets, But if you want to have an Efreet that is, well, basically purple, and from the new Cold Fairy game to have some bragging rights, then this is definitely the one to go for. More news will be up later down the line, which I will report on when it is up. Okay, that's all the Gunpla. That's literally all the Gunpla. And the remaining 3 pieces of news are basically free pre-built diorama sets. So this is going to be the one for Jaburo, which is going to be an April 2022 release for 6,380 yen. This is going to be for use for the 1:144 scale Gunpla. Now, if you are too lazy to build your own dioramas, then yeah, Bandai has done the job for you, with a very hefty price tag. Same thing goes for the next 2, this one being New York, like, yeah, ruins of New York City. But here you have it. If you want a generic ruins diorama, then this is definitely one to go for, and maybe buy multiple sets so that you can expand the diorama. But yeah, it doesn't look half bad. Then again, this is also for 1:144 scale, releasing in April 2022, but this one even more expensive for 7,150 yen. Moving on to the third one, this is going to be the last shooting stage, so this is even more limited in terms of its usage. But if you want to kind of like have a mining colony kind of set, then maybe this one would be good for that. This is going to be an April 2022 release for even more money, 7,480 yen. So it is very, very expensive. I think it does come with this arm for the Xeon head. All 3 of these, like I've said multiple times, come with a very hefty price tag. So maybe decide whether or not you want to buy the materials, build your own, or just go for the pre-built stuff. Okay, moving on to the Gunpla release schedule for November. So in the 6th of November, literally the first weekend of November, we do have the Gundam Helios and Gundam Lindwurm Heaven. So if you don't understand what was going on, Bandai, or maybe over at Sunrise, blatantly stated that the Gundam Breaker lineup, the entire Gundam Breaker Battle Lock lineup, is going to be released in America in October of 2021. I don't know how I missed that from the trailer. Maybe I just wasn't paying enough attention, but apparently 90% of the Gunpla community was shocked and was in the same boat, so I don't blame you guys. But for those of you who are salty about the Americans, finally we have this rectified 1/3 of the way. So if you want to get yourself a Gundam Helios or Gundam Lindwurm Heaven outside of America, you don't have long to wait. Literally only 2 weeks. That's gonna go by in the blink of an eye. Given that shipping doesn't muck up, because the typhoons from last week in Hong Kong mucked up the Gramary's delivery. I'm still pissed about that, still salty about the Americans, but let's calm down. 2 more weeks. It isn't a big deal. Now moving on to the 13th of November, thank God it's a Saturday, we do have the Esposito Alpha. Now the Esposito Beta, like the Grammarly, is still not yet available in stores here, so I don't know what that is going to be like. But the Esposito Alpha is definitely the one that I would go for, because the transformation for the Beta is literally stupid looking, because it does have the blatant visor and the sunroof, while this thing I believe only has the sunroof sticking out while the visor is completely hidden. And apparently there's a Batman model kit for you guys who wants to purchase that on the 20th of November. Now moving on to the Thanksgiving weekend, a lot of 30-minute Sisters body parts, and of course the fat boy himself, the Master Grade Gundam Virtue. Now a lot of you guys has voted for me to review the Virtue, so I will deliver. And if somehow we hit 5,000 subscribers, this would be one of the major candidates of the grand 5,000 subscriber giveaway. So stay tuned, and yeah, it's a little bit unrealistic, but hopefully we do get there soon enough. Now moving on to the P-Bandai deliveries for Japan, we do have the Master Grade 1:100 scale Maneuver Striker Pack for the Eclipse Gundam. We do have the High Mobility Zaku 2 Team Monster Custom, now I remember now. And finally, we do have the Real Experience Model RX-0 Unicorn Gundam Automatic Transforming Head Bust. I've seen this in action in, like, what is it called, HGAC, in the convention video that I haven't released. And honestly, it just looks awesome. And the color coded lights, I believe, only include red and green, so there's no blue in there, unfortunately. And of course, it does have a speaker to simulate the experiences that you do get while you watch the unicorn transform in Diver City, Tokyo. That's all for the schedule. Finally, we do have some unfortunate delays if you haven't noticed, because Chongqi and Cleopatra have been delayed to December. Why the delays? I don't know. Haven't you not had a more boring month than October? I don't know why you need delays. And to go with that, the Victory Buddha Wukong and the Perfectibility Liu Bei Unicorn Gundam are going to be delayed to next January. November is relatively empty in terms of Gunpla, so there's no purpose. The story is finished, so there's even less of a purpose to delay these kits. But unfortunately they are, so we can't do anything about it. So that's going to wrap it up for Gunpla news of October 2021. What do you guys think of the stuff that was unfortunately not that plentiful that is announced in October? Which are you going to be picking up, and what do you guys feel about finally having the chance to pick up your own Gundam Breaker Battle kit if you're outside of America? So that's going to wrap it up for this video. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you did like it, please be sure to drop a like, comment, and also subscribe for more Gunpla reviews, Gunpla news, and the like. Turn on notifications for future content alerts if you haven't, and I'll see you all in the next video. Hang loose and peace out.